Hello, and welcome to Meet Me in Tennessee. I'm your host, Allie, and this podcast is sponsored by the Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association. You can find us online at northeasttennessee.org and on all social media. And today we're in the studio with Heather Watson, Vice President of Education and Exhibits with Hands-On Discovery Center. And that's a super fun and creative title.
I love my title. Yes, it's long but creative and fun. And yes, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here, Heather. Can you please tell our listeners a little bit about your role at the museum and its purpose in welcoming visitors from all around?
Sure. So Hands-On Discovery Center is an all-ages science center, and we really just want to welcome people to come in, have fun, and learn. My role is to oversee everything you kind of experience. So anything that's related to education, exhibits, and events, as well as community events, goes through me. So I get to have a great time fulfilling our mission in the community of fun and learning.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. When your job as a visitor is to come here and have fun. I mean, what can go wrong? Knock on wood.
You'd be surprised.
What brought the Hands-On Discovery Center into existence?
So actually, the original founders of the museum had traveled around and went to science centers across the world and thought, why isn't there something like this in East Tennessee?
Yeah.
You know, we have this great kind of community in the mountains, and why not have something like that here? So our founders actually kind of pitched in together and decided we're going to make this something that we do.
Yeah.
And so the museum was originally chartered in 1985 and then opened its doors in 1987. So we're going into our 36th year this year.
Wow.
Yes.
That's totally worth celebrating.
Yes.
And when y'all first opened, was that in the downtown location?
It was. We first opened in downtown Johnson City. We were in a storefront, and that was originally supposed to be a temporary space, which ended up becoming a permanent space for us for about 30 years.
Yeah. And I just have to say, as a kid born in the 90s, it's got a very nostalgic place in my heart, thinking about that little grocery shopping center in there. Going in there as a kid still resonates today with the hands-on learning.
Yes.
The news center experience, the slide.
Yes.
Just staples of my personal memory bank.
I love that. You know, I think that's a big piece of what we do is we make those core memories, and you probably didn't realize it when you were that age. You were learning as you were playing.
For sure.
Which is what we try to do. We try to sneak in the vegetables of learning is what I like to call it. You know, we're inspiring and opening minds and really helping kids find themselves and find what they love to do and what they want to be when they grow up.
Yeah.
And all through play. So I love that you have those memories growing up. I also have those. I grew up playing at the museum, and so it's really great to kind of come full circle and now work at the museum and kind of reflect on that experience in my job.
That's so cool, Heather. I love that so much. And I've heard several folks, you know, in this community who remember that part of the museum. So how has it evolved from what it was then to your new location? And can you talk a little bit about where the new location is?
Sure. So in 2018, we moved out from Johnson City in the downtown location out to Gray. So a few exits up, but not too far. And we actually now are located at the Gray Fossil site. So we've combined the old hands-on, which really resonated as an early childhood children's museum, to now an all-ages science center with an active dig site also on site. The story that came to be there was the former CEO of Hands-On and the director of the paleontology program that runs the fossil site hit off a friendship and just said, why do we have these two entities? We have similar museums. We have similar audiences. We both really want to encourage our audience and our community to explore STEM. And why are we working against each other? Why don't we work together?
Oh, that's beautiful.
And we both had similar experiences, but we had different needs. So we as Hands-On needed a new building. We needed a larger space. And the fossil site needed more time for research and kind of to step back from the visitor experience. So it really was kind of the perfect unity to be able to come together and fill each other's gaps in and really take the burdens off of each other that were really kind of inhibiting our progress as separate entities, and come together and work together and have this beautiful partnership where everybody's happy. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
It's really worked out well. So we've been out at the new site since 2018. We did run both sites, downtown and in Gray, for about 2 years. So 2016 to 2018, we ran 2 sites at once, and then finally slimmed down to one in May of 2018. And it's been a huge success since then. And we've seen so much growth and really increased our impact in our region and community. And actually, we now typically get visitors from all 50 states.
That is so
a year
awesome.
Right now, and sometimes other countries in the world. So our impact has really grown since this move, and I think it's been beneficial for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think is attracting visitors from all around? Do you think the dig site and the hands-on experience is a big draw?
I think the dig site is a huge draw. I mean, who doesn't want to see fossils?
Yeah, for sure.
And how cool is it that we have a fossil site that's an active fossil site right here in East Tennessee?
Right.
So I think that's a huge draw. I think changing kind of our dynamic from being a children's museum to an all-ages science center now feels like there's something not just for the kids to do, but for the adults to do. So we have adults now come on dates. We have adults that host events at our museum now. So I think just increasing and expanding what we're offering has offered the opportunity to increase and expand our audience. So
for sure.
It's been beautiful.
And with you being kind of overseeing the exhibits and curating the educational experience and programming, how have you been able to, I guess, utilize the partnership with the fossils and the dig sites and curate some of those exhibits around that within the museum?
Yeah, so we actually work together as partners to kind of see a total vision of what the experience should be. So we work with the fossil site team to help with their exhibits, and they work with us to help with our exhibits. It's been really interesting because you kind of get used to what you're doing sometimes. So adding this new element of fossils has been a new challenge for us, but it's been really great because a lot of our exhibits tend to focus on chemistry and physics and things in that realm, but not really the natural history realm. So it's really been great to kind of increase our capacity, not only as individuals, but as the museum, and kind of work together on making these really cool, dynamic kind of displays of fossils and things of that nature, and learn from those paleontologists, and they get to learn from us. So it's really great.
Yeah. I brought my daughter, it's been several months ago, and then she ended up coming on a field trip because that's a common thing.
Yes.
And
we love our field trips.
I remember the section you talk about the natural history of like the animals that used to live in these natural habitats, way before civilization and development.
Yes.
And then kind of walking through the lab center, and you can actually have a hands-on experience of what it's like for these scientists and paleontologists to actually dig up a fossil and brush it off. And I just think that's so cool.
Yes. We're bringing the science to life, right? Because science and really a lot of content areas can seem very abstract or very scary. So we want to bring it to life. We want to make it approachable. We want to make it exciting and kind of ignite that excitement to then be maybe a workforce development opportunity as well. But yeah, we really want to have folks come in and say, I got to do that today. I got to learn what they do behind the scenes today, because paleontology sometimes seems a little easier on TV and movies than it really is in real life. So it's great for people to get that hands-on experience to realize there's a lot of work, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of effort that goes into that, and all the sciences really.
Sure. And it goes back to the hands-on experience, back to your name.
Got to put your hands in it. So
and I just feel like, so there's this scientific perspective, which is kind of a reframe for me. I love thinking of that we have this like almost like a destination science center. That's such a cool way to think about hands-on. And then also along with the natural history and kind of the educational programming, I like that you mentioned workforce development, but then also you're kind of helping to tell the region's story.
Absolutely. I mean, the geologic timeline is here around us every day. We just might not really think about it until we kind of step back and say, oh, okay, we're a piece of this timeline. Where do we fall in this? And where did this fossil site fall in things? And then how do we incorporate that in other pieces of our museum? So, for instance, we have a pollinator garden, and all of those garden flora are all related to the Pliocene site. So it complements
just native.
Again, they're all native, and they all would have existed when those animals that were around during the Pliocene epoch would have existed. So, we're really trying to continue that story, not just throughout the natural history part, but through other exhibits that we have.
Yeah. So. I feel like that's a very timely topic too, and maybe a bit of a tangent, but thinking about the pollinator gardens.
Absolutely.
Some people are opting to not mow their yards and to let those pollinator gardens grow.
They're so special. They're just designated spaces, and ours is a Monarch Way station, so it has a special designation. And we have master gardeners that come out and tend our garden for us and help continue to tell that story and share the importance of why that piece is important, sustainability and environmental research, and just being kind to our planet. So
and something that seems so simple, but to take us back in time when that's how it was, and to show kids, and like you said, all ages are welcome at the museum. Just that little bit of hands-on and maybe a moment to stop and breathe and to hear the pollinators in action.
Yes, it's a very sensory experience when you go out in that garden. You can see things, you hear them, you smell them. It does make you kind of pause and reflect for a moment, but it's just a beautiful space to be in. And that's another draw for us too, as well, as there's a lot of folks in this region that love gardening and the environment. And so they love just sometimes to stop by to see the garden when it's in full bloom, which is pretty much right now. It's gorgeous.
So now is a great time to visit, I imagine. Springtime coming up. And also, you say you get visitors from all 50 states. Wow.
We do. We do.
So think of those folks coming from the city who may not have the opportunity to see those kind of green spaces all the time.
Yes. So there's a lot of unique things that draw them to our site. And we're just so grateful to be able to, have the ability to host those individuals and be a draw for this region, for tourism, economic impact. There's so much there that we're hoping to support in this region. And it's exciting. We've welcomed over 2 million people since we've opened our doors. So
that's amazing.
A huge impact, and it really does reach far beyond our region, but it's such a beneficial resource for our region.
Well, we're super thankful for partners and folks like yourself leading those front lines and welcoming those visitors and being the faces they see when they first get here to the region.
Yes.
So I read online that your mission statement is to inspire discovery and understanding of science and the arts in a place where learning and fun go hand in hand. What does this mean to you personally and your work with the museum?
So I love to have fun. Who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the joy of our mission is bringing the fun to everything we do. I get to carry out that mission every day and have the most wild, fun, creative, wacky ideas that I can come up with to make things that seem terrifying, exciting, or things that seem difficult, easy. That's the beauty of what we do is just making learning playful. So I think when you're learning about forensics or you're learning about fossils, it can sometimes be very studious, or you get lost in the words.
Intimidating, I feel like.
Right. If you're on a field trip, you're just like, okay, we've just learned about this in school. Do we have to learn this again? We want folks to come in and say, oh, now I get it. Now this is fun. Now this is exciting. Now I want to go learn more.
Yeah.
I want to be this when I grow up, or, just want to explore this as a hobby. But I think the fun is the piece, right? You can kind of learn anywhere and anyway, but if it's fun, it's going to stick with you. I mean, you mentioned earlier how you have those memories growing up because it was fun. Right. It really connects with people and resonates with people when they have that kind of aha moment with the excitement.
And it gives me chills to think about it.
Yeah.
Because education is so important.
It really is. And, a lot of children are struggling with a variety of things. It might be a content area, it might be reading, and we help bridge that gap for them and make it approachable, make it exciting, and kind of support and enrich that curriculum that they're getting in school. But also the adults are learning and having fun too. So
for sure,
you're never too old to learn something new. And I think that's also what we do as well.
Absolutely. So. We're always learning and growing.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you feel like, and you're covering pretty much every question that I've had, and I love when the conversation just flows like that. It's just we're going right into it. What are some of the more unique exhibits you've had experience in helping to curate, and how do they offer that more, I guess, curated experience to the guest? I know there's like the Tesla coil.
That's one of my favorites. The Tesla coil is a bipolar musical Tesla coil. It is actually a Guinness record holding Tesla coil. So we have, wait for it, the world's most powerful musical bipolar Tesla coil.
Wow.
It's a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
To get in the Guinness records, you just need to be super specific and you'll almost guarantee your spot. So, but it's a giant machine, really, that has two diodes that create an arc of electricity. But this is special because it plays music along with that arc of electricity. So most Tesla coils you see in movies and things like that are just the electricity and not the musical piece. So ours is actually able to play songs. We can program songs on it. Cool. So we have everything on there from like Rocky Top to Star Wars to Little Mermaid. Again, we like to have fun.
Yeah.
So we can program different songs to it, but it's a really cool exhibit because it showcases Nikola Tesla's work, and he was really about free energy and electricity for all. He was really philanthropic, and so we're kind of carrying out his legacy for him by getting people excited about energy and electricity and teaching them about that. But it also really ties in well to weather. So you talk about lightning and thunder and how that's created with the coil because it's very similar in how it happens.
Sure. But again, you're making like education, something that might seem otherwise dull, you're making it very fun and exciting because you really have to see this coil in person. It's huge.
It's huge. It's about 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide. And I mean, the electricity arc is also pretty substantial and it's loud and we have headphones, but it's awe-inspiring when you go in there and you see this machine and kind of like, feels very movie-esque in that room. But you're just learning so much while you're going through that experience as well. And that was a gift to us through a donor match program through General Electric.
Awesome.
So, and we've had that coil a little over 10 years now. But it's another one that's a huge draw for people. We have a lot of electrical engineering students come in and learn from that coil, kind of the basics.
Sure.
Because you got to know the basics before you start messing with electricity.
I would hope so, yeah. It's not my thing.
Safety first. And we have a lot of teachers come in that are learning about electricity. How can we incorporate this into our lessons? But that's a fun one. That's one also that you can hear at our front desk. So as people are coming in, they hear it and they kind of get you curious, like, what is going on? Why is Star Wars playing?
Yeah, definitely. I love the Star Wars, especially with May 4th coming up.
Yes, May the 4th be with you.
Absolutely.
So Tesla coil has been a really big one for us to kind of start including in our programs. The garden was a big piece for us. Obviously, the fossil exhibits are a big piece. And then I think one of the other big ones was our first real collaborative piece with the fossil site. We have a 3-story climbing tower that is to scale with all of the fossil replicas housed around it and inside of it.
No way.
So we have a mastodon tusk that's about 14 feet long that is true to scale and mounted on the side of this climbing tower.
A climbing tower that the kids can actually climb?
They can climb in. Adults can climb too if you want.
Okay. I like to climb.
So just got to have good knees. But inside there's all kinds of different fossils from tortoises to a saber-toothed cat. Just again to teach the kids that fossils are fun.
Yeah.
This is exciting. But it's all
a mastodon tusk. Like, what's not cool about that?
And to see it be so huge is just, you know, when it's in a case kind of to the side, you don't really realize how big it is. But when you're standing next to it in a tower, you realize, oh, it's quite large.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that piece was really great as our first kind of collaborative piece to work together on, you know, how do we develop something that spans all ages, that talks about fossils in an appropriate way, that's going to resonate with everyone. And it's a beautiful piece. The company that helped us fabricate it just really listened to every detail, down to tiny green specks of mold in the painting, you know, that were from core samples of when they dug the fossils up. So the level of detail on that is just beautiful. But it's also just fun to see kids run through there and point out all the fossils and just be, again, excited and yelling out to their friends, hey, come up here and check out these fossils. I think that's another really great one that we've added in as well. So
so folks, when you're visiting the museum, and I guess any museum, like thinking about the intentionality behind these exhibits. I mean, the fact that there's specks in there from the dig site, I mean, who would have known?
Right. You just don't think of those layers of things sometimes. And there is a lot of work that goes into exhibit development. There's a lot of thought. There's, you know, a lot of lead time, research. Most museums, ours included, do a lot of surveys of members, surveys of community. Stakeholders are a big piece of what we create, what we adapt, what we take off the floor sometimes. We listen, because if we don't listen, then we lose that audience, and then
and the involvement of the community.
Right. So
crucial.
It's important. And as things change too with curriculum, we have to be on top of that as well, because
which is ever changing, it seems.
It does seem to change every couple of years. So and that's okay. That keeps us on our toes. It keeps us, you know, making sure that we're relevant, making sure that we're meeting everyone's needs. And that's a big piece of what we do as well. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. A little more on the dig site. I read online that it dates back 5 million years.
Yes.
With plant and animal fossils. Can you tell our listeners some of those types of plant and animal fossils they may have the chance to experience?
Sure. So there's about a little over a dozen brand new species, never seen before anywhere in the world, that have been found at the Gray Fossil Site. There is a new species of red panda that seems to be everyone's favorite. Red pandas are really hip right now.
I think it's that Pixar. There's like a Pixar
movie. Yes. So everyone talks about our red panda. Actually, our red panda is on a U-Haul truck. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Is it really?
Drive by? It is. And you see them all across the country. So we have people actually send us pictures from across the country of the red panda. But there's a new species of snake, new species of rhino that does not have the typical front horn that you would associate with a rhino.
And these are things that have been found right there at the site.
Here at the site in Gray. So new species of mastodon. Trying to think what else is kind of the exciting ones. There's just so much that's new at this site.
Sure.
That makes it unique. But there's all kinds of really interesting things that they find, because this site specifically sifts through microsediments, and a lot of fossil sites just go for the big, cool stuff and don't really go through sifting for the microfossils. And so Gray Fossil Site is unique in that. But by doing that, they've been able to more narrowly define the age of the site by looking at salamanders and bats and things like that.
Sure.
But I think the most interesting thing that baffles me that you can even find this is a fossilized pollen grain.
What?
I just, the level of detail and patience to be able to
small
to find that when you're sifting through microsediment under a microscope.
Yeah.
You know, everything is small already, and then just
to
have that level of patience to dig
different or evolved from how a pollen grain would be today?
It is similar. The pollen grain that they found is actually related to the Tennessee state flower. So it's similar. It's not really that different. But, you know, these folks are so specialized in paleontology. They can tell you every little difference that there is, from the pollen grain to a salamander to a mastodon. There's just small details that make such a big difference in their mind. And, this is really key to research, not just with fossil sites, but other animals in the world. There's a lot of biology and different things that kind of are products of their research. Learning why certain animals have gone extinct, or learning why certain populations of animals are struggling. A lot of those puzzle pieces they're helping put together because paleontologists really talk to each other across the world.
It's a vital component to that knowledge that we can share in our education now and in the future.
Yes.
And thinking about the pollinators, it keeps coming back to that.
It does.
Thinking about that fossil, and one day they could be extinct.
They could. Absolutely. They sure
That's
could.
a real thing that if we think about now, we can maybe help turn around. But
that would be ideal. If we're just at least bringing some awareness to that, that's, I think, all we can hope for is to do that. But if we can inspire people to move forward and really take action, I think that's even better.
Yeah, I agree. Heather, if someone were visiting Northeast Tennessee for the first time and they were just Googling things to do, why should they come to Hands-On Discovery Center?
I think Hands-On Discovery Center is going to offer something you truly cannot experience anywhere else. Our fossil site is one of a kind. It is world-renowned. It's the world's most taper-dense fossil site also. I didn't mention that. We got a lot of records on the fossil site. Awesome. So we have something really unique to offer with the fossil site. I think the science and art components that we bring on the museum floor are also quite unique. And our Tesla coil is something special. And then all of our other exhibits are really curated, like you mentioned earlier, to make sure that the folks in our region feel heard and feel like it represents them in some way.
Yeah.
But I think there's not a lot of museums or science centers in towns of our size of this magnitude. So it's really a special resource. A lot of times you see science centers in really large cities. So to have this here in our region is, I think, really cool and special.
I think it's very cool. And it is special, yes.
Yes. And we do a lot of programs and events and things that are also ongoing, but really unique as well. We kind of do playful spins on things that other people aren't doing. We try to kind of think out of the box. We don't want to copy what other people are doing. We don't want to be a carbon copy of another science center or museum. We want to be our own entity. So I think that is also really a big piece of what we do is we're different than other science centers and museums.
And you can come out and have fun.
Always.
And learn something.
Always have fun. Here. Always learn something. I think, we don't say no. We don't say don't touch. It's a very positive, encouraging environment. And I think even once you walk in the door, our staff is so welcoming, so exciting.
Oh, yeah. Every time I've been there, whoever's at your front desk always has a big smile on their face.
Yes.
And they're just willing to answer any questions or walk you around.
Yes. So I think that joy kind of follows you through your experience while you go through, and you hear the laughter, you hear the excitement, and the energy kind of in the museum, and it's really kind of contagious. So
it is contagious. And Heather, you mentioned maybe some events and activities. Is there anything upcoming you want to mention to our visitors?
Well, you mentioned May the 4th. We have a May the 4th Be With You event coming up that we do a bunch of programs for.
Okay.
So that's probably our next closest event other than our garden grand opening weekend, which is also in May. So May's kind of a fun month, I guess.
Yeah, it's a fun month. And the
sunshine's coming. And then summer camps are here. And we have summer camps for kids ages 6 through 14. We actually traditionally have a 6 through 12 camp, which we're keeping this year. It's all STEM focused, not just fossils. We do all kinds of science. And then we're also adding our trades program that we typically do as an outreach as a summer camp this year. So we have kids that'll be drilling and hammering and doing all kinds of
I love to
really
hear that
cool stuff for camp this year as well, which is exciting. It's been a really successful outreach program.
It's helpful stuff to know.
It is. It is life skills,
Yeah.
but also the trade sector is really important to this region.
Sure.
There's a lot of trade jobs around here, and we want to support that workforce and get them excited about it early.
Absolutely.
So
I just love seeing our forest schools and programs like these encouraging students to just rediscover those kind of skills. I think they're so important.
They are. They are. You pay those folks a lot of money, so there's
there's always a need for that.
There's a need for that, and then sometimes there's a stigma with the trades, but there shouldn't be.
No, there shouldn't be.
You're going to call a plumber when you need a plumber, or
it's just as important as any other role in the community.
Exactly, it really is, and so we want to make that an exciting opportunity for them to go into the trade workforce and feel enthusiastic about it and feel that value that they're offering the community and get that experience early. So, yeah.
And along with your programs, I just want to brag on our region for having such wonderful summer camps and opportunities for children and the upcoming workforce. We're so fortunate in that way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
It's so important. And I know my daughter comes home with all these flyers of like, look at all these things you can still get involved in the summertime.
Yes.
And just thankful for that. We're going to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
Get a little more personal.
Oh, okay.
So Heather, what are some favorite road trip songs that you like to jam out to?
Ooh, favorite road trip songs. Yeah. Well, it depends on if I'm just by myself or with the family.
Okay. I'll let you lead the trail on that one.
I love to kind of pump up the energy when it's just me, but the family maybe isn't so keen on that always. So I love some like 90s bops because,
that's hoping you're going to take it to the 90s.
So some like 90s hip hop.
Like any Salt and Pepper? Or what?
Salt and Pepper.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, we can even go like, trying to think of some
Coolio,
good ones. Beanie Kamosi or, we just love Here Come the Hot Stepper. So
I was just honestly listening to it after I dropped Olin off of school the other day.
So, I love some 90s stuff. But, if my son comes in the car or my husband, they might not be as keen on that.
You might get the eye roll.
Yes, I get the eye roll sometimes, but that's okay. We all have different musical tastes, so usually I tone it down when they come in the car, and it's usually just a variety and mix with them kind of more 70s rock type of jams. So
it's fun too. It's fun too. What are some favorite activities and or hobbies around Northeast Tennessee?
Ooh, favorite activities. I mean, we have so much great outdoor recreation here, so I think you just walk out your door and there's so much to do. Go hike, go swim, go biking. I think all of that is always exciting. You can kind of do it year round here too because it's pretty mild.
It is mild.
But, we love to just kind of travel around, try things to eat. We love to go eat at restaurants, go to festivals, just kind of get out in the community. I think that's such a beautiful piece here is we have this welcoming community that loves to interconnect. And so just getting out and meeting people and doing
and
things.
It's farmers market season coming up.
Farmers market season is coming up. I've got it marked on my calendar. It's not far away. So.
And I just saw a flyer the other day. There's it's Bike JC. They've organized a group now to like meet at a park and ride, but it's a park and bike. Oh. It's like a carpool version of a bike, and you take a bike ride to the farmer's market. And I'm like,
I love that.
Fun little,
Yes.
So we have things like that going on.
I love that too. Yes, and I love that the farmer's market has really grown.
I believe that's
here.
Ride JC, not Bike JC, but
yes.
But the farmer's market has
really
agritourism
expanded. Yes, and people are so much more aware of how that impacts their health and their life, and the health of. Back to that sustainability piece too. There's really so much impact. So
just trying to source local, and we have it here locally.
Yes,
we have the farm animals. We have the chickens and the eggs. And
we do, and it tastes better fresh.
Yeah, it does. There's a huge difference.
Yes.
What is we may have already talked about this a little bit, but what's your favorite personal exhibit at Hands On if you're going as a guest?
Ooh, Tesla coil is definitely a favorite. I think my other favorite is our Draw Alive exhibit. It's a virtual drawing environment where you draw in a template and then you scan it in and it kind of pops up into this environment. So, we have dinosaur environment and a aquarium environment that you can send dinosaur or a fish or whatever into. I just think you could kind of have endless opportunities to create something.
That sounds fun. I've not seen
and
that.
then it's part of a little community. I think it's just adorable.
Yeah.
I love art too. So I'm not just sciencey. I love art as well.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of blends both pieces as well.
Museums kind of connect and bring that out in folks is the educational and the artistic side of things.
Yeah.
I have to just say my favorite exhibit currently, I think, is the sand with, you can like create
the
elevation.
box. Yes.
I just think that's fascinating.
That one is definitely a fan favorite as well.
Kind of make your own mountains.
Kind of therapeutic.
It's very, yeah, it is therapeutic. So where can our listeners and folks learn more about upcoming programs and activities within the museum?
So obviously our website is a great place, visit handson.org. We have a very active social media. So Facebook, Instagram are probably the next two areas that would hit. You can also go on our website and sign up for our newsletter. So you get monthly email updates about anything and everything that's exciting that we're doing, from a science lab program to an art program to a special event. We do try to keep things kind of always going and have something exciting happening, because we do have a lot of members. So we want it to continually be exciting and new and fresh for people, so they don't feel bored.
Get that vibe from y'all. It's always, I think of hands-on, I think of it being lively and colorful and inviting. That's what comes to mind.
So lots of avenues, website, social media, newsletter are great. You can always just pick up the phone and talk to our front desk.
Cool.
Email somebody. We're happy to share. We're all just excited about what we do and want the community to participate, and the more the merrier.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate all you do for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today and for sharing your experience.
Yes. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
For sure. It has been fun. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, just come on down. We'd love to see you and say hi if you see me.
Yeah. We all heard it there. Come say hello and visit Hands-On Discovery Center in Johnson City. And for upcoming events and happenings in Northeast Tennessee, be sure to follow us on all the socials and check out our website at northeasttennessee.org, where there's more up here to do, see, and be when you meet me in Tennessee. Thanks for tuning in.